Question and answer time with Todd and Aaron.
It's time for Q&A with T&A. By the way, that stands for Todd and Aaron.
All right.
We good? Yeah.
We made it. All right. Welcome in to Q&A with T&A. That is T, Todd Downing. I am A, Aaron Montgomery. We are with our success group right up there.
And you can call us USPS because we're late. But hey,
we're just like the post office. We never run on time. And yes.
Fun fact, my neighbor is a postman, and today he sent a message that says, first time ever, USPS will deliver on Christmas this year. They are not required to. They're not being forced to because their union contract says they can't. So they're talking that it's going to be like triple holiday pay, a couple $100 an hour to do this. So sounds like we're going to get packages on Christmas. Hopefully they all wear Santa suits because that would be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, the packages that they do find. Oh man, what a disaster for all of them. I mean, it was a perfect storm, but I wonder if, at some point I was talking with my wife about this the other day, the fact that there needs to be some disruption in that industry. I mean, there just has to be. I know Amazon's tried, but haven't been able to really pull anything off, but I think this is going to be that push that people need to finally take some action. I mean, where's the Uber of shipping, Yeah,
that's the thing, is it's just a logistical nightmare. And, there's way too many pieces involved. I've always thought that USPS, to save some money, they should just go to home delivery on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then do package delivery, through those 4 days. They can do business and that, but hey, just go ahead and, I don't need you to walk by my house to drop off those mailers. I mean, think during the election, how many times was 90% of your mail not real mail?
Say, there's rarely a time I get anything in my mailbox that doesn't go directly into the junk folder. I mean, just raise the prices on all the junk mail services. And the other thing that's going to happen, though, let's be realistic here, Todd. Because of the fact that there's a government entity so ingrained in the middle of this whole thing, that's what keeps the prices down. I mean, yes, there's going to be disruption, but the other side of it is shipping's going to go up. It's going to have to go up before it can go down. So
in fact, we saw that we got that message in September, October, that there was going to be the increase for what prices was going to be for shipping during the holiday season, and that goes through the 26th.
Yep.
And there's the yearly price increase that'll happen in January, but that price increase is going to be less than what we're paying right now. So it increased, but it isn't. It's like we're already used to this. Just keep it the same. I don't think people really even notice.
Well, I saw a note from FedEx today that their holiday surcharges will continue through January now.
Yeah.
Now that's on Smart Post and like oversized packaging and stuff like that. The problem is they just don't have the volume. They don't have the space to put everything, and then they don't have the the infrastructure to handle the volume. So you had a perfect storm. You have everybody now shipping things because of the lack of being able to go face to face as much as we'd obviously want. So that happens. Everybody starts buying online. So that causes more shipping. And then, the workforce has been depleted. Kylene was actually talking to a post office in Washington today, and apparently 2 of their distribution centers over there in the state of Washington, some big ones, have been hit massively by COVID. And so they don't have enough employees in there to sort everything out. So
it's a perfect everything.
Yeah.
I thought that this was going to be, a great shipping year because of everything that happened, over the summer, and, online sales, overnight blew up. And so I was like, well, this gives them 6 months to figure it out, because this is Christmas in July, literally. So you should be able to plan for this, and
Yeah.
no, it's just gotten worse.
Yeah, it unfortunately is gonna continue to get worse before it gets better. But I guess here's the bright side of that coin, Todd. And we haven't even started scratching into Q&A yet. But here's the bright side of that coin is that this is like headline news. You know, it's not like people, just normal everyday people that are getting packages aren't experiencing the exact same thing. So it's not like just us that are in the business of shipping things or in this business are missing stuff. Everybody's dealing with this.
Yeah.
And therefore, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, sorry, you know, but if this thing is going to ruin your Christmas, maybe it's time to take stock of things anyways, you know. So I've actually had those conversations with people in the past, and they don't like it, but hey, it is what it is. So anyways, all right, let's see what we got going here. Steph says, so just relaying messages for you really at this point. Todd said, sorry if I missed your call the other day. So you guys, everybody's okay. Okay.
Good. Yes. Yeah. So we'll reconvene on that, Steph.
Okay. All right. Curtis, hello. Thanks for being here. Marianne, great to see you. Mike, thank you. Good afternoon to you. Good evening, Chuck. Good seeing you.
What's
Renee?
up, Chuck?
What's up, Chuck? Renee, checking in. Thank you, Renee, for being here. We appreciate it. And Wade, you made it. Appreciate you being here as well. Richard, we are doing well. Todd, you're doing well, yes?
Yeah. You know, hey, it's what 8 days to Christmas. So hey, I mean, the greatest thing now is just to be able to tell people, yes, you want a sweatshirt? I'll gladly get that to you in April.
Sweatshirts in April, yes, indeed. Yes, good times. Let's see here. Yeah, Marianne says, don't get me started on UPS with some explicatives. Not really, but that was just the emojis for those that are just listening in. Okay. And Wade, 24 inches of snow on the way. Yeah, I woke up and we had a dusting of snow on our roof this morning, but that was it. So that was
yeah. How much is that snow going to affect shipping?
Oh God. Oh God. Don't even. Yeah. Oh boy. Renee, very, very good idea. Actually, by the way, buy your forever stamps and small windows. Let's. This could be an investment opportunity here, Todd.
Yeah, so if we buy them all now and it goes up 4 cents, and then we sell them for 2 cents, is that legal? I mean. I don't know. I mean, we're giving to. I don't know.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. All right. Thank you, everybody else, for being here. Tina and Tanya. And Becky, happy hump day to you as well. And Darla checking in from Alabama. Appreciate you being along for the ride, Darla. Good to see
warm in Alabama. I mean, I think it's like 29 degrees here.
Alabama? Why do you think Alabama's warm?
It's warmer than 29. Alabama's south.
It's okay. It's not like we're talking about like Phoenix or something here, man. You know.
Did it tell you Alabama's probably warmer than here?
All right. Well, we'll find out. Darla, what's the temperature there right now?
Yeah, I need to see what the temp is there.
Yeah, we need the weather report, people. Let's.
It's 42 in Birmingham right now. And and next week it's going to be in the 60s for Christmas.
All right, so, you are right. 45 degrees there, Darla. Thank you very much.
So that's almost twice as warm as here.
And you're still probably in shorts.
No, I got pants on. I don't have shoes or socks on.
Yeah,
shoes. I mean,
nice.
I've almost. I mean, we're rapidly approaching. If I can pull this off another 15 days, I haven't worn shoes since February. So I haven't put a pair of socks on since February. I mean,
oh man! See, all right. So hold on, we gotta go to the Y view. And first, before we get anywhere, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Obviously, you guys know with Q&A, it's all about having a little bit of fun. So we're silly, we have fun. That's what the whole point of starting this was to be able to commune with you guys and have some fun. So appreciate you guys dealing with our silliness here. I'm going to show you my socks, Todd. How about that?
Those will be the first socks that I put on. Promise.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Yeah.
I've got my OSG socks on. So yeah.
Those are sitting on our right I don't have in my sock drawer because I don't wear socks, but they're sitting there.
I was gonna say you don't need a sock drawer.
Right. I mean, look at all the space I could have for activities if I didn't have socks. So
I love it.
I almost bought a pair of shoes on Sunday. Almost.
Almost, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I didn't. And then now to think about it, those other ones didn't come in either. And I don't even remember seeing a charge on my card for it. So I better check that. That was a Christmas gift. So
Nice. All right. So Todd, we've got the rest of the weather reports coming in.
Awesome.
Rena, 70 in SoCal. So
That's like 3 times warmer.
Facebook user, Todd, Facebook user, if you do us a favor. And again, I know that most of you have probably done this already, and it's okay. It happens. But if you'll go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, Facebook just doesn't always like to play nicely.
I think it's easier just to go to liveosg.com because, last night after my live, because I'm like, I didn't really have as many people as I normally do on there. And the comments weren't really there. And then, when you get done, you check the notifications and that. I'm like, what are I'm like, Aaron was there. Wait a minute. Wait, whoa. And so none of anything from the Business Basics group, none of those comments showed up. So
I guess we'll see if any of those are showing up today, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I see some Facebooks on here, and I'd seen that last night, but it was very odd. I thought so I reset stuff today to see if it was going to help or change anything. We'll see. But if not, I think the live OSB, and then you just set that, ring that bell and set the reminder and do all that fun stuff. And then when we go live, you get the notification and perfect. And
there you go. All right. Well, Darla's actually checking in from the Business Basics group. So we that is working. Good job. So let's see here. Oh, sorry. We missed Renee, 33 in Chicago. We've got 38 in Virginia, 79 in the house. Wow. Toasty. That is toasty in there. Wow. Holy cow.
So, I've often had this thinking about it. Why is it that, when it comes to, like, what do you have your temp set on your house right now?
I don't know if so we have the Nest, but Kylene doesn't have it on our phone. So when she walks by it, she turns it up, but then I get it on my phone and I turn it down. So I'm not sure who the last one to play the Nest game was. I'll check it right now. Let's see here. It's at 70. So that's actually between, I normally keep it at 79. She keeps it at 72. Or not 79, 69. Sorry.
Whoa. So yeah, we're a 69 family.
Oh boy.
for the heat there, but then come wintertime, we are winter. Come summer, what do you usually have it set at? 77 or so. So it's weird where you can have it here for one side and the other side I need it here. Yeah,
because we normally keep it in the mid 70s in the summertime. Keep it down in the mid 70s in the summertime. So
maybe that 10-degree swing that you can. I used to when I was working at the heat and air place, when they first started to have the connecting thermostats, I went ahead and put one on our house, and it was amazing to see that every time I left, Corey messed with it. So then I started getting alerts, and I could lock it and change it out. I'm like, hey. And then that's when I could see that there wasn't any movement going on in the house, and I would play random Metallica just because it was loud. Here and there. It was amazing. It was a good time.
Sounds like fun. That sounds like a really good time. All right. Well, we got all the rest of the weather checking in here. Let's see what else we've got here. 36 there in Oklahoma, but it was 40 plus before the sun went down and no snow. So that's a good thing, I believe. Currently 68 in Florida. Louisiana, 42.
Oh, that's a little chilly for Louisiana. 42.
36 in Charlotte. Facebook user, I put a lot of wood in the stove as we are prone to power outages with the snow moving in this evening. So
so see, I don't want any of that.
Warmed up to the mid 30s in beautiful central Washington. Facebook user. So Facebook users, if you guys can head over to StreamYard.com/Facebook. I don't know if it's going to, like Todd said, I'm not sure it will actually work. Facebook and StreamYard just have not been playing nicely. So if you'll go over to Live OSG, also you can, you can basically check in on YouTube, and there's none of those issues over there. So let's see here. Tina says 29 in Marionville here in Missouri, and my thermostat's on 72. There you go.
What do we keep it at then? I'm pretty sure it's 77 because that's what I have it set at my phone as. So maybe you just don't realize that it's 77. I think I'm gonna have to look.
All right. Yeah, there you go. Now you guys will have to, Corey, help us out here. 72 all year round there for Tina. This is great. This is awesome. I'm learning it so much. You guys are amazing. 78 in the house, but my daughter has a reptile, a Chinese water dragon. We have to keep it warm, a warmer ambient air temperature. Wow. Okay.
So you get the heat lamp above it, right?
Yeah,
You just like
this is awesome. You guys are great. This is amazing. All right. Todd. Corey says 71.
71? No, I don't let it get that. That's cold. 71 is cold. That's two things. It's on 71. No.
Nice. All right. 34 in Kansas. This is awesome, Todd. 20 minutes in. And, well, that's not true. We started several minutes late. Sorry about that. Computer restart. All right. So, let's see here. Now, real quick for folks. So I did clear out our questions last time around because I figured, we'd want to make sure we had plenty of room to get all the questions in today. Yeah. And because this is the last Q&A of 2020. Not the last Q&A ever, but
forever this year.
Yeah. So if you got questions to be asked, what we need you to do, though, is we need you to enter them over here on the website. It just helps us keep track of everything. And also just, that way we're not chasing squirrels all night. So we will a little bit, but if you'll go over here, that allows us to kind of get, so oursuccessgroup.com/Q&A, put your questions in there, and we're going to try to clear the list. And now we've got, we've only got a handful in there right now, just a couple right now, Todd. So let's dive in and
I think we can do that. Why not? Why not?
All right. So, and again, if you're showing up as a Facebook user in the comments here, again, do us a favor, head over to streamyard.com/Facebook and check, just give them permission to show your name so we know who we're talking to here. All right, Todd. So let's get the first one going. I've got the banners up. You've got something going on over there.
Well, I was able to find it, and haha. So I don't know if you can see this, but
hold on.
Comfort settings.
We'll get you solo layout there.
Right. My comfort settings is what I have here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, 77. Well, there. Maybe when it goes 77, and then when we're away, 82. See, I don't screw around with that. 77 at night. So don't tell me. I know what I have it set at. She just doesn't know.
All right. So, Todd, let's get to the first one here, and let's try that again. Okay. So here is the first question for tonight. What is the process for sublimation? Can we print on anything? Can vinyl and rhinestones be incorporated into sublimation? You want to take that?
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 questions in there. So I think the technical aspect of it, I'll try and get. Aaron will correct me, and then we'll move on to part 2. So the process of sublimation is taking a liquid to a gas and then dyeing fabric so it's permanent. All right.
That's I think not bad.
What's the technical
sublimation? So that is what's happening. We're basically using heat. It is converting the liquids, the pigments, into a gas, and then those gases are transferring onto the polyester. Doesn't have to be fabric, and anything that's got a polyester coating on it.
That's part 2.
All right. So anything that's got a polyester, it's polyester. Those polyester molecules actually open up under that heat, and then the dye actually transfers into them. And then as they cool, they close. And so it's basically dyeing. That's why it was, a lot of people will still call it dye sublimation. It's basically dyeing the fabric, dyeing the polyester. And it's a process that requires even heat and even pressure to get, a nice, bright, vibrant image that's clean and clear.
Very nice. See,
you had it.
Yeah, part 2. Can you print out anything? No. I mean, technically you can, but will it stay and look good? No. So you need to have polyester is the big thing. I mean, whether it's a coating or it's a fabric, the poly is what you need. The higher the poly count, the better. So there's my nutshell. Aaron, take it away with the science.
Yeah, the science. Well, I mean, it's like, so what happens? Yeah. So because like if you've got a 50-50, 50% of that shirt is cotton, and cotton doesn't have that same property where the molecules open up. So the ink, while it might look like it's on there, I mean, like if you were to just transfer a sublimation transfer onto a 100% cotton deal, you'll see some of the color, but it will wash out pretty much right away because none of that's really kind of getting down into the fibers and dyeing it like with polyester because polyester is actually holding on to the pigments. So, yeah, so that's why like a 50-50, only 50% of that blend is going to actually have ink that stays in it. And, so you'll get that washed and faded look. You'll never have a bright, vibrant look to it. So it's made for polyester, I guess, to answer the other, and I'm not sure if I'm stealing this from you or not, Todd, but I'm going to do it anyways. The other part about sublimation is the inks are translucent, is what it's called, where you can kind of see through it. And so whatever the background is that you're putting it onto, that color is also going to be seen through that whatever you're transferring to. So if you've got let's say you've got a green shirt and let's say you have a light blue shirt and you're going to put a yellow sun on it, you're going to end up with a green sun because yellow and blue make green, right? I think I'm doing that right. Yeah. I'm kidding. So there's no white ink to the process, and because the inks are translucent, you get this things change color. So even like normal sublimation blanks, you can have one thing, like if I print, let's say I print this on the mug, and I got a nice white mug that I'm starting to, but maybe you've got a little lower grade mug that don't have, that have maybe kind of a yellowish tint to them. Well, the colors, no matter, even if you do it the exact same way, how you transfer this to another one, the colors are going to change. You're going to get that yellow. So when you get really deep into the whole color thing with sublimation, it can be a rabbit hole, but you got to remember that the background that you're printing on is going to affect the colors as they come out. Right. So, real high end people that are doing like photo panels and stuff like that, they actually specifically color profile every single product type that they decorate onto. So instead of just pushing print and transferring it and hope it comes out, they actually have gone in, made all these color corrections with a color spectrometer and all this other kind of fun jazz, so that every time they print on that particular product, it's going to have the same color. Right. So anyhow, that's way.
And then the other thing is, that I think people are just getting started and don't realize is that there is no white ink in sublimation. Yeah. So that's a big part of it too. And I know there's ones that say, yeah, you can use the 50-50 blend shirts and that, but not every 50-50 blend is the same too. So some will take won't even take 50% of it. So yeah, there's a lot of trial and error in it. I think that'd be a good Tuesday with Todd, is get those sample transfer sheets from you, with the color wheels and all that, and just different shirts and just press them on it to show it. So I'm going to put that on my list of, of Tuesday with Todd ideas.
All right. Just remind me to send you this stuff. So the other part about that, Todd, is worth, I think, bringing up here is, yeah. So sometimes the way that the shirts are actually knit together, when they're called a 50-50, it depends on again, yeah, maybe there's more polyester on the outside and it's knit with some more cotton, because there's actually products like that are a 50-50, but the outside might be pretty much cotton and the inside might be the poly for the moisture wicking. So not every single, and there are even some polyesters that have certain, properties to them from waterproofing and things like that, that will also change and affect and not allow. So test everything first before you do it.
I ran into that with towels, where the one side's a poly side and the other side's a cotton side. So, it says it's 50-50, and that's what it is 50% of the one side, and 50 is the other. So a lot of it, I think people, if you're getting in this, just remember, you got to test it. You can't always go by what somebody else said and did, because everything is never the same. It's amazing.
Yeah, totally. So, okay. And the last part, can vinyl and rhinestones be incorporated into sublimation?
Absolutely. Because they are done at a lower temp and a lower time, you have less chance of affecting the print.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other, I think, cool part about this, yes, you can get some really cool multimedia. So you're going to put that sublimation transfer down first. And then, like Todd said, your temperatures are different. So you can layer different things up and not change the color of sublimation. Now, depending on the colors and depending on the inks, they what they call transfer, they gas at different temperatures. In fact, even my normal, I printed off a Sawgrass, print off an Epson or whatever, the different colors in there are going to transfer at different temperatures and start gassing at different temperatures. So the interesting part is that's one way that you can kind of dial in what is happening with your transfers. If you're like too hot or too long or things like that, if you take a solid black square and if you take that solid black square and you transfer it and you just kind of do it at different times, if it's got a little bit of a green hue to it, it's underdone. If it's got a more of a red or kind of a brown hint to it, it's overcooked. So find that happy medium in between those, and you kind of got the time and temp for that particular product.
And if you have blue specks, what is that?
Dust, lint. Yeah. So, blue specks. Yes, the lovely blue specks that show up in sublimation. Seen those lots of times. So, but I guess the other point about the vinyl and rhinestones is there are some vinyls. Now, I've seen this out there. People are like, well, why won't this sublimation transfer onto my vinyl? And in fact, I think you were talking with somebody just the other day about it. So it's not all glitter. It's glitter heat transfer vinyl, and even then it's only some glitter heat transfer vinyl, so that you can actually sublimate on top of that glitter. You've actually done it in Tuesdays with Todd, and so it totally able to be incorporated, but don't sit and pound your head against the wall trying to get it to transfer on something that it's just not going to work with.
Well, and like I said earlier, one of the things that you're going to have to do is you need to test, because not all paper is the same. Not all ink's the same. So if you're going to run a third-party ink, an off-brand paper, you might not get the same results as somebody who's running, a purpose-built machine with the ink that's made for it and the paper that's recommended by the manufacturer. We've seen that a lot where people say, this isn't coming out right. Okay, so what are you, and here's something too. If anybody's asking questions on sublimation, that it's always good to say what kind of printer you're using and what ink you're using and what paper. So that way you have a good baseline so people are able to see, what they can do to help. But a lot of times the biggest thing I see is I got this ink off of Amazon, or I got it off of eBay, and, there's nothing with it. So there's no profiles, there's no nothing. I really can't help because I don't know. Some of that, I think, I would say a good 50% of that is probably not good ink. And what are you going to do? There's not much you can do. I actually had a conversation that I'm trying to find more information on, but somebody said that they had used EcoSolvent ink in a Epson Workforce series, so like the 7710. Which I think is impossible because the solvent will beat that machine up. But they're saying it's a water-based EcoSolvent, which doesn't make any sense to me because how can it be a solvent ink that is a water-based ink? Because those are two completely different things. So I'm trying to find out as much information as I can on this because it boggles my mind. But they said that they weren't able to print right, and I was like, this is why. And they're like, no, I've done it plenty of times before, and it's Stahl's fault because it's a bad batch of media. And they said that Stahl's isn't giving them any help. I'm like, how would they know their stuff is manufactured to work with this type of stuff? You're using a third-party printer and a third-party ink. They're not going to have any help for you because they just don't know. So that's something else too. If you're using that I don't think I've ever touched on before. If you're using a converted printer, where you've taken your Epson and put in the ink in there, most times your manufacturer of your blank goods isn't going to be able to help you out because they're not producing those for that. They don't know, they don't know what, Johnny Ink around the corner is in it. They don't know what this other paper is. They don't know how the print's supposed to be with it. They have, here's the things that they know it is, and they usually give settings for that. And after that, you're on your own because they just don't know. And they're not going to probably spend, 4 days of going through stuff to see about what your little problem is, because it's just not cost effective for them.
Yeah. I mean, it's that, and I think that becomes the big challenge is how to best manage that, because we've talked about this a lot, Todd. There's always lots of different ways to do lots of these things, So just because I do it one way doesn't mean that, if you do it your way, it's not going to work. And I've tried to be really clear about that fact that, for me, there's a certain thing that if it were my business, this is what I'm going to do. Okay. And that's what I share. But can you use third-party inks? Can you do that? Absolutely. 100%. I see lots of people doing it all the time and they're doing just fine. The problem is like you said, when something happens, who are you going to go to? Who are you going to ask? When I bought an ink from here and a printer from over here and paper from over here, and yet all three of these things are supposed to work together to make the product that I'm selling for my business. So who do I start with? Do I start with the ink guy when I'm having trouble? Do I start with the, printer guy when I'm having trouble? Because here's what's going to happen. The printer guy is going to go, well, no, it's your ink. And the ink guy is going to go, no, well, it's your printer. And then they're both going to go, oh, no, it's actually the paper. And the paper guy is going to go, what? I don't even know what you're doing with my copy paper.
Where do you get links from Etsy and you don't know anything about it?
Yeah.
I mean, so, one of the other big things I see is the people who import things from China and they're like, this isn't working right. And nobody's answering myself back. And I spent $1,000 to bring these in. Well, sorry. What are you doing that?
Yeah. So
you got to be mindful with doing this.
Yeah. You have to be, if you're going to go that route, and again, lots of people go that route and they do just fine with it. And I think that it's totally fine and you save some money and that's all fine and dandy. But you also then have to be the one willing to go out and find the answers too. And yes, you can ask questions and I'll share. I was talking to somebody the other day about an issue they were having where they were getting some yellow haloing around some text. And, I can honestly say I've not seen that with a purpose-built sublimation printer. It just because the heads are formulated for that. So what happens is you're putting ink in it that aren't supposed to shoot out. So things are shooting out a little bit different and weird. And so I was, in fact, that same person, the conversation was, here's the deal. If it were my business, I'm just not the tinkering type. Todd, you're great at that. You love doing the testing and all that stuff. That's not my gig. It drives me nuts when something screws up and I have to sit there and figure it out. I want to push print, and I want to make the next sale and move on, so I'm willing to invest a little bit more up front to have a tool that's going to work for me all the time. And even if I can't afford it, I have to look at it as an investment. There's got to be a way, whether it's a loan, it's mom, dad, I've got to have this tool for my business, whatever it takes, but again, that's just me and my personality and the way I go about things. So it doesn't mean that like you, Todd, you do enjoy that and you're going to dig in but you go and do it on your own. Do you ask other people questions? Absolutely. Yeah. But you're not expecting them to solve your problem for you.
And, starting now and going forward, you're probably not going to see me talk a whole lot about, hey, yeah, go ahead and convert your printer. Because, I've been, an Epson conversion kid for, 4 years and it's been great for me. But now that, Epson's starting to release those desktop printers, I mean, the F170 at $399, that's a sublimation ready printer from Epson with a warranty and ink. I mean, that's just a no-brainer to get into. Now,
now they're not shipping until January. I just found out today.
Yep. And then
maybe Epson's notorious about shipping late, just FYI.
And then we have, I think they're still shooting for April for the 270, which is supposed to be the 13 by 19.
Yeah. But they can't even keep the 570s in stock. I was also talking to somebody about that. And at this point, what they've got coming right now
sold
aren't going to fill the back orders that are already there in place. So somebody and oh, you know what? It was Ree said she was on waiting list for 11 weeks. And so, you know, it's just one of those things. You gotta figure out what's going to work for you. All right.
Go
ahead, Todd.
Yeah, once we have those available, I mean, there's no reason to convert it. There's no, you know, and I'm a big proponent of, you know, the third party stuff, because you're able to use it, and especially if you have great support behind it. But it's gonna be tough for those people to compete with Epson when you can buy, you know, a sublimation ready printer for $400. And if the 13 by 19 is probably going to be, you know, anywhere $800 to $1,200, somewhere in there, it's really hard to compete with that, because, you know, of just where it's at. So things are coming. You know, the 2021 is looking good for people, and I think it's, you knew it was going to eventually happen. You know, Epson, you know, they started big and worked their way down, and they skipped one. You know, you thought they would have had that 13 by 19 before the little guy, but
yeah,
you know,
I think that's more to do with some of the politics in the back end. Just FYI, so the whole. There's still, I don't know, the whole patent thing, and then so I unfortunately got to see all the back end of that thing. It was silly. So,
nice.
But I think that this is going to prove the fact that, I think it'd be really interesting to see what Sawgrass does in 2021. So
they're gonna have to do something.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. All right, Todd. So first off, we had all sorts of great conversations going on while you and I were going back and forth. So I don't know if we were just talking to ourselves or not, but let's see what we got here. All right. Carolyn. Okay. You know, Carolyn says, I hate dinking around. I just want to do it. So just, kind of like Marianne says, that's why I invested in the Epson 570. The 7720 was a headache.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing, is if you are fine with, you know, messing around with stuff, and I'm just used to it by now, you know, it's one of those where, hey, we're fine with it. You know, with what is showing up, hopefully next week, you're going to see a lot of me messing around with something. And
I knew you were quiet for a reason. I hadn't really had as many conversations with you lately, and so now I know. Now I know you were just avoiding me, so I didn't talk you out of something. That's my deal. That's what I do.
It still says shipment. I just checked. Shipment ready.
So there's still time. All right. After this is over, Todd, we'll have a conversation. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, I think we're gonna see how this all works out. I've spent more money on worse things.
So Andy says, I've got a DTG printer and hate tinkering around and ruining garments in the learning phase. Yeah, that part can be a bit challenging. Andy, remind me what DTG you've got again. So we can do some things on that though too. So try to help out there. And I'm in that same boat. Yeah.
One of the things that it doesn't matter what you're using, whether embroidery, laser, heat transfer vinyl, DTG, it doesn't matter. When you're just starting off, get that notebook and keep it close by. So when you do this shirt, here's the settings that I use on it, and this is how it turned out. So that way you're able to go back and look, here's the settings. I did this last time, this is where it is. And it doesn't seem like a big thing, but man, when you have something dialed in and you can do it repetitively, it just saves you so much time. This is my settings for fleece. This is my settings for, ringer shirts. This is my, whatever you have, this is just the way to go with it. And it makes things a lot easier. And then you can see that the biggest thing is that you're not making that same mistake twice. Okay, so I had this at this pressure and this at this, and it didn't turn out well. Let's not do that again. Let's find something else. So keep that little notebook handy by, and you'll turn out fine. I mean, I think that's one thing that I don't think I've ever heard it at any trade show that I've been to during any of the equipment is hearing, so you're going to screw up for the first couple days. Everything's not going to go great. You're going to ruin some stuff, and we're here to support you through that. No, everything magically works perfect. No, it doesn't. Yeah. But I think if people would set them up that way, that says, listen, you're going to screw stuff up. You're going to try it. You're going to do this. You're going to get frustrated, but that's okay, because everybody does that, and you'll get through it, because you're just going to have to work through it, and this is what you do it. I think you'd create a lot less frustration for people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think setting realistic expectations definitely. I mean, it's definitely that tightrope. The sales guy wants to make the sale, and so But at the same time, it definitely is one of those things that, if you have some realistic expectations. But as Todd mentioned, if you've got that notebook there, the other thing that's really important when it comes to that whole deal is look. I think a lot of times we want to just grab something and then just kind of try it and try. Think like a scientist, okay? Set up an actual, I'm going to try this. So what happens to a lot of people is something doesn't work, and then they go and change all these settings.
Oh, yeah.
And then something doesn't work. And it's like, but so you don't want to do that. You want to kind of do it incrementally, so let's figure out what the challenge is. Let's think about some logical things to try, and then just try one at a time until you start to see some movement. But if you can set it up almost like an experiment to where, okay, we take out the variables, because that's what happens to, that's what happened to me for a long time was this. I wanted to let's just crank the dial and something's not working, but you actually need to kind of incrementally make those changes to kind of dial it in. So
something didn't work and you came back and you increased pressure, you raised your temperature, and you increased your dwell time. What fixed it? What changed? You don't know. So you just do that one at a time. And there's a technical term for it that I don't remember, but you only change that one variable at a time. So that way you can consistently see what it was, because a lot of it, and in sublimation, time and pressure, or temp and pressure, those ones you don't see a whole lot of fluctuation with. A lot of it is in the time. Something will take a longer time. That the temp is pretty consistent on stuff, between 365 and 400. Your pressure, depending on which kind of substrate you're putting it on, is light or heavy, that dwell time, that is where a lot of it changes at. And sometimes, those 1 or 2 seconds, you might not notice something. It's going to be those 5 or 10 or 15 seconds. That's when you're really going to notice stuff. And once you have it dialed in, then you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing with sublimation is there is that window, so some of the colors start at this window, and then it goes up to here before then they start gassing back out. So again, that's where if you're dealing with something that's black that has all 4 of the colors in it, it'll be a little more green if you don't get it enough, because the reds are what take the longest to start gassing. But if you've gone too far, now those reds are going to start going back out. And so, that's your window there. But the same thing happens in all of the processes, same thing with DTG, or Carolyn says it's classic in embroidery, the classic, I changed the bobbin needle and the thread feed and it's still not working. It's like, okay, let's try one thing at a time and get to it. So, all right, let's see what else we got here comment wise. Andy's got the Brother GTX Pro. Andy, let us, reach out to us and let us know what kind of some of the things that you're running into, or how we can help with that. We're happy to share our experiences. I haven't used a Brother a whole lot, but I've definitely used DTG plenty and have plenty of friends over at Brother too. So happy to help there. Mike says, I've never sublimated anything in my life. Looking forward to it, and the amount of substrates that can be printed, and of course the money that can be made. Yeah, it is a profitable venture. It's sublimation for sure. Let's see what else we got here. Mike said, I did not want to waste time trying to convert a 7710. I read too many horror stories. I just wanted to invest in a true sublimation printer. That's a great way to look at it, Mike.
Yeah, and what's crazy is, before there was a lot in involvement, of changing stuff out, and now it's as simple as, hey, I got to buy the printer, and on the Eco Tank, I just don't throw this ink in it, and I just put this one in it, and I'm good to go. And for the most part, that's correct. But those printer heads were not made for that, and you're going to still run into issues, and people don't understand that, and it's frustrating. Now, if you're going to have issues from the get-go, then you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. So Maria said, what do you mean when blacks are more green? So you'll see when you're transferring, if you've got a solid black, if it doesn't really look like a solid black, it almost looks a little more blue. It maybe has a little bit of a green halo to it. So that to me is meaning you don't have that deep, rich black, because what's happening is the reds aren't fully transferring. Those pigments in that red hue aren't fully transferring, and so it's leaving it more blue. So that's hopefully I'm going to try to do some tests here at some point once things kind of we've got to get some more folks into the Masters of Success and some other things we got going on at OSG. But one of the tests I do want to do, Todd, maybe we do a combo Tuesday with Todd or something here, because I want to go through that process too, of the how do you take a black square and transfer it over and over to really dial in your time. So
and you've got on montco.biz, you have those what did you call them? They're the
just color samples.
The color samples, which are really good for people to get to. It's anytime you get new product in, it makes sense to press a color chart on it, because not all colors are the same, and we do the same thing on the print side with media. Not everything prints the same. It just depends on what it goes on, and so it's you're going to have a couple sacrificial pieces. The one here's my color chart, so you can see what it looks like actually printed out, and then hey, I had to get to that point to make sure that it looked good first.
Yeah. So Maria says trying to do some black tumblers and having issues. Send us a picture or something like that, Maria. We're happy to take a look. I can tell you.
I think I'm like, well, you can't sublimate on black, so let's just start there.
No. I think it's the black in the tumblers. Yes.
I think about it. I'm like, well, let's.
All right. So Todd, 50 minutes in, and we've answered one question. So
three questions in there.
There was 3 questions in there. Yes, you're right. All right. How do you handle customers who want to see a sample of their logo? I have a few customers interested in flex style, but they want to see their logo.
So they're going to pay for it. And the way that we do it is you pay for it, and then that gets credited back. If you're going to charge $50 for it, it'll go back towards your purchase price when you go ahead and do it, because especially on something like that, there's a setup fee with it. There's things that need to happen that need to pay for it. It's just not a digital mock-up that you're doing. If you want to see a physical one of it, I mean, you got to put some money into it. You can get the samples from. You can get the samples from stalls to show them, but if they actually want to see their logo, they're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah. And I believe this was some of the conversation that was happening earlier. I know Darla was helping out and jumped in there as well. And here's all of it. So I've already spent money on the artwork and setup fee for one customer, but they're going back and forth between flexi style and embroidery. So
I think each has its place.
Or flex style and flexi, sorry.
A lot, they both have their place. They're both good. They're both that high end, and I can't even say that embroidery is going to give it that more, or that flex style will give it more of that dimensional, because you can do that with embroidery too. It just all depends on how you're setting it up. And a lot of it's going to come down to preference, and what you do is you just make sure that it's cost effective for you to do, so you're not spending the time on it. Here's what it's going to be this way. Here's what it is this way. Here's what it is that way. And you just take it and move on. Yeah.
And Darla followed. So again, I think a lot of this got addressed a little bit here earlier, but Darla said we charge prorated art fees after the first 15 minutes and allow one revision only. Customers revise you to death. And I wanted to mention too what you were talking about, Todd, with that if you are going to actually make somebody a physical sample, I think that's the best way to do it. So here's how I've always approached that style of, So I tell people, okay, we can do a sample for you. It ends up being free. Basically, we just charge you for the first sample, and then when you're ready to place the full order, then we'll give you the full amount back. So you're getting a free sample.
Yep.
So we're going to give that back to you when you're ready to place your full order. So because that to me is the way to kind of sell it to your customers, because people don't want to pay for a sample. When they hear the word sample, they expect free. They've been to Costco down the aisles and got a little free food for too long. So when you're talking about samples, make sure that you are also putting in there free. Now, ultimately, they're going to pay for it first, and be clear about that fact that, you're going to pay for this first one. So that way, everybody's square. And then if for whatever reason you decide this isn't the right deal for you, then no problem. But when you're ready to actually place that order, then we'll go ahead and give you the full credit back for that sample. So right. I just want to make sure that I made that clear, because I've seen people struggle with that. It's like, oh, why don't you, so-and-so does free samples? Probably not. And even if they did, you're paying for it in the back end of it. So.
And I've lost count on the amount of times where I've seen somebody give a legit free sample to somebody. Here's what your shirt is going to look like with your logo embroidered on it. I did all this. That's how it looks. And then that customer never came back, but they took the somewhere else and said, this is what they need done. So, that's why you want because you want to qualify your customers. I mean, let's just be honest. If they're not spending money, they're wasting money.
Yeah. Because
get them in there.
Yeah, no, I think that's another great point, Todd, that you bring up there. That I think this is another thing that I hear a lot, and I even said a lot. It's that the whole customer's always right. Well, at a certain level, yes, but until they actually pay for something, they're not a customer yet.
True.
All right. So they're not right yet. So get them to pay for something first. But before you get them to pay for something, again, like Todd said, you got to qualify them. Is this really somebody that, I can't tell you how many times I've heard stories from people, or even seen myself, where, somebody's coming and I've got the next greatest idea for the next, big thing. And, once I get this out there and in front of my people, boy, you're not even going to be able to keep up with me. I'm going to bring so much business to you. But, I just need these 12 shirts for free. Okay. So disqualify them. Yeah.
Nonprofits are amazing for that. Somebody started up a nonprofit here, help us out. We're going to sell this, and we're going to do fundraisers, and we're going to do this. And then 3 months later, the nonprofit is no longer around because they didn't realize how much work it was. And that's a lot how it goes. It's just qualify your customers, so that way you're good on it.
Yep. Nice. All right. Let's see here. Janessa checking in. Yeah, so Michelle says, I think the struggle with that is how to word it. Mm-hmm. And again, I've always, started with it's a free sample. You're going to pay for the first one, and then once, I think the best way to word it is just to get it out there as quickly as you can. Just say, we can do a sample. The way we do samples is, you'll pay for that one, but then when you're ready to place the full order, we'll give you the entire thing amount that you paid for that sample back. Mm-hmm. Because I think that's really and using the entire amount that you paid for that sample back kind of gives them that pause to go, okay, yeah, it is free. Ish. Yes, I know I got to pay for it up front, but because like Todd just mentioned, you do also have to qualify them. And that is a qualifier right there. If they're hesitant, if they're like, oh, I just need the sample because I want a sample, then they're going to be hesitant to that. If they need a sample because they're actually interested in making that purchase that you're in discussion with them about, then there's no difference for them other than having to come up with a little bit of money up front, Yeah. And at the end of the day, if they don't like it and it just isn't for them, I get that it's probably custom. I don't know. I mean, I would probably throw something in there, and you guys do what's right for your business. But if in my business, I would kind of go, you know what? And at the end of the day, if you really don't like it, just give it back to me, and I'll give you your money back.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can't resell it, but then everybody's covered.
Well, and the other thing too is, when you're qualifying your customer, what they're going to be. Now we have customers that spend thousands of dollars. Those ones, I'm probably going to give them to them. Here, let me get it, because they're used to buying stuff. That they're a purchaser. That they're going to come in there. They want to see something, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to do something. Like the flex style or embroidery, something that new that you're going to do. You need to show off your work anyway. You need to show off your samples. You're going to offer them a deal. Hey, we just started doing this. What do you think? Can we do this on your next set of shirts? Can we try this with you? And you're going to give them a sample to see, because you want to gain that account. So I don't know if there is a right or wrong one, because as it comes down to it, you just qualify your customer. If they're going to purchase, they're going to buy, then great, give it to them. If they've spent money month after month or every year they do this big purchase, great. But if you're getting somebody that's just coming in off the street that says, hey, this is what I want to do and I need a sample, great, I need some money.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. No, that I guess that's definitely really important to talk about too. You can kind of have your policy in place, but yeah, I've never hesitated. I had a project where, there was somebody and it just felt right. The conversations we had, the thing felt right. I was looking at some of the stuff that they were doing, and they had 14,000 views in like one day on a TikTok video, and so I knew they had the people there. And I mean, I probably made a couple $100 worth of samples for them and sent it out, and was totally that was cool, and it's worked out. It was a risk I was willing to take, so. But at the same time, yeah, if you're just kind of whatever onesie twosies, regular stuff, then have that policy in place. Because the other nice part about having that policy in place, Todd, is that then you get to be the hero when you go, you know what? Well, this is what we normally do, but because Todd, you know what? You are. I can't wait to do business with you. You're super special to me. So because of the fact that you're special, now I'm going to go ahead and waive our policy.
That made my day. Thank you.
All right. So let's see here. Terry says, so how do you handle it when places like stalls require a minimum order of 25?
Their minimum order is 25. I mean, that's the thing on something like that. If it's a new thing that you want to do, I would 100% buy 25 of my logo and show them these are, because it's 25 of my thing. So I can put that on whatever I want. I can do that as a giveaway. I can do whatever with those because they're mine, and I can show them off and then say, hey, here's our sample policy for this. We need this, we need that. And this is how it goes, because the process, we need to have a minimum of this for it. So I can show you this, but if you want yours, this is what needs to happen because of the process that goes into it. Yeah. And anybody that is in business, they'll understand that, because they just know that sometimes you just can't buy one widget. You need to buy this because there's a process for it, because anything less than that, it's just not worth it. So if they want one, okay, it's $200. Wait, yeah. But it was $200 for 25. Yeah, that's because the minimum is 25. So whether you order one or 25, I still have to do this. So what are you gonna get?
Yeah. And I definitely think that, like I said, getting creative, doing your own logo, trying to convert people over to this new process. It's just one of those things that you got to figure out a way. I know there was some conversation about digital mock-ups in some of the comments there. So if you can kind of figure that out, some of this too, I guess, Terry's saying, these are repeat customers that have always done embroidery. I just want to use my new hat press. Some of this it can also be considered a marketing expense, an investment. So yeah, maybe you are gonna, but by being able to use your new press, now you're gonna get better at it, and you're gonna get more efficient at it, and all this other stuff. So, and then great, yeah, I think Todd, good job on that one. Doing your own logo, that's it. And again, that becomes a business write-off as a marketing expense for sure. So
that's why I had these done, so that way I could show them off, and we're selling
test them out.
So,
yeah, test them out.
It just works.
All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. I don't know, Todd. We'll see what this next question, how this next question goes.
No, I don't.
You said you'd answer anything, so I'm gonna put it up there. You ready?
Sure. Something.
We said you'd answer anything. So
technically, if it has not shipped, I haven't bought it yet. I haven't. I guess.
Can I rephrase it? What are you buying?
So I bought something that
you're not going to share. Okay, it's all right. It's just us, Todd. It's just you and I having a chat, so no big deal.
So I bought a printer. I bought a DTF printer, which is
you're giving it away.
Is depending who you talk to is what it is. It's either going to be direct to film, direct transfer film, whatever. Apparently US is lacking as usual, and it's big in other parts of the world. And it's been in the US for about 6 months now. I've been following along for probably the last 3 or so, And I think it's going to fill a void. Our biggest issue with our printed HTV is, like doing a logo like this, our success group. If I don't have the white on it, it sucks to weed. It's just a little lettering, and it's just not cost effective. So we don't do it for people. And I think this is going to fill that need for it. And the basic premise of it is take a DTG printer, and instead of printing on a garment, it's going to print on a film. Instead of that white underbase, it's you're printing in mirror, and the white's the top layer, and then you add some powder to it, and you put it in the oven, and then voila, you have a transfer. So if you've used Supercolor, it's Supercolor isn't really saying what their process is, but we're pretty damn sure it's this process. From everybody that I've talked to, they're like, yeah, this is pretty good. And if you were at DAX on Friday night, which, by the way, if you weren't, I think you only got, how long is that going to be up for? Another like 5 days or so?
I don't remember what he said on that. I guess I just assumed it was going to always be up, but yeah.
I think it was only a week or so, but there was a lot of amazing information in there that came rapid fire. Really liked how that was set up. Stalls is actually doing something with Transfer Express where it's going to be the same process. When they explained what it was, then I'm like, that's totally DTF. So we're going to get it in and spend a couple $1,000s and see how it works. Spend, like the $17,000 that I could have. The machine is amazing because it prints and then it goes through a shaker and then it goes, then it goes through an oven and comes out the end. It totally reminded me of like some Gold Rush show where, here you drop in the dirt here and it goes through and gold comes out the other end. It's an amazing.
I love it. The Gold Rush. Yeah.
So we're going to see. So there's I've got a handful of people that we do quite a bit of printed HTV for, and I'm going to be sending out samples and see what they think of it. Washability is supposed to be 50 minimum. We'll see. It was. I've been kind of going back and forth the last 6-7 months on whether I wanted a white toner or not because of those issues, but man, that just seemed like a lot of I don't knows, and just like, I don't know. And this, I was kind of like, why not? Let's see what happens, and yeah, why not? So that is supposed to ship out today, and I'm hoping it'll be here by Tuesday. So maybe we can do a little unboxing or Tuesday with Todd. And the great thing is depending on where people are in their business, about next week is, it's kind of it for us. We take the rest of the year off where we'll do stuff here and there, but there's not a whole lot of stuff that typically comes in during that time because, Christmas is off or corporate stuff, the places are closing down this year. Who knows? It could be amazing, but typically, we slow down for that week after Christmas, going into the new year before we pick back up. So I got a week to play with stuff and have some fun. So maybe, it's going to be live central. We're just going to do all kinds of cool stuff.
Awesome. All right. I'm looking forward to that. So Michelle says, no, we're only just getting them here in Australia as well.
Yeah. See, so I think China and Europe is there, is where it's at. And yes, those little bitty logos, anything that's like that big, it's just a giant pain. You're not weeding that. You're not weeding something that there's a space of 1/64th or 1/32nd of an inch. You're just not doing it. It's just not worth it. So we'll see how it all turns out. It could turn out to be an amazing thing. I said I'm probably going to at least a minimum of a month testing it out. I'll probably run, 5,000, so what's that, 500? Why did I say 5,000?
I don't know. I'm just making up stuff now. I love it.
I'm going to use it. So I'll probably run, a couple hundred prints through it, send them out, have people test them. I'm telling all of our kids here, guess what? Guess what we're trying to see how this is going to work. You're going to have a bunch of shirts, and who the hell knows? But I'll probably spend way too much on stuff. And
so the first shirt should be 5,000, right, or something?
5,000, man. That's 5,000. So we'll see. So you get to come along for that journey. This will be the first time in one of the things I always want to do is, hey, let's see how something works. And so now, I had the Spangle machine before we started up OSGs, and I haven't bought a piece of equipment in 14 months. So, it was just kind of itching that I haven't bought anything this year, and now it's here, and we'll see, and everybody will come along for the ride to see what happens. And if everything goes out, great. There's another stream of revenue to come in.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, Carolyn says that's what I'm weeding now, micro shit. So
yeah, see,
never fun. All right, Todd, we're going to back up a little bit, and when we're talking about those samples and stuff, but what if they don't like the sample and want a revision?
So most of the time we do everything digitally before it even gets to a finished product. So you should have, a digital mock-up, of everything beforehand before it gets that far. If it's made it that far and it's got to the end and you're happy with it and it represents what the digital mock-up and they're not, then you did something wrong on your end, because it should be, here's the digital mock-up of it. Here's how everything's going to look of it. Here's everything that's conveyed through it. And if they're happy with that all the way, and when you do the final one and you're happy with that, then it's just a preference thing. There's something there, and that's when you got to find out, okay, what is it you don't like? Because you like the proof, you like the artwork that you did, like everything that we did. What is it that you don't like about this? And sometimes maybe they expect it to be, thicker, or they expected, something to be placed different, or they expected the colors to be there. And these are all things that'll help you in the long run, because then it's like, okay, so I need to know from here, if something they thought it was going to, be, the flex style, let's go with that. I thought there's going to be more dimension to it. Well, you'll need to be able to have something to show them this is how thick it's going to be. So that way it takes that guesswork out of it for them. And in the first couple times you're going to do stuff, you're probably not going to get it right, but you'll be able to use each one of those mistakes as learning experiences. So then it just becomes a seamless thing, where you're just like, yep, here's this, here's the sizing of it, here's how thick it is, here's all the colors, here's, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, the more of that upfront information you can get, I think the better off is definitely the key. And like you said, there's going to be some learning experiences. There's going to be some times, and that's the hard part of business that I think people have a hard time swallowing. Is there's going to be some times where you lose money. I mean, it's part of business. But when you're losing money, you're learning, as you mentioned, Todd. You're learning, and so that is now an investment. And unfortunately, the more money you learn, hopefully the faster you learn. The more money you lose, hopefully the faster that you learn. Now, it doesn't mean you have to, and you can research and stuff like that. But you can go kind of try to have the perfect this, perfect that. I can't remember who the heck I was even talking to. It doesn't really matter. I was talking to somebody, and I'm like, yeah. That's what customers do. They figure out how to break it, or they figure out a way around the system, or if I ship here, it should charge shipping, and it doesn't. Whatever. It's like it's just going to happen, and so you have to. But if you have a good grasp on your numbers and you're pricing your products high enough, all of that stuff comes out in the wash, and those losses get made up by gains. And that's why you have to both pay yourself and make a profit, because the profits are going to be what pays for the issue that comes up or something like that, or allows you to invest in new equipment and things like that. It shouldn't come out of your personal pocket. Yeah.
What was the thing? Never take a job that you can't print twice, or you can't do twice. You can't afford to do twice. That's the thing. If you're taking on a $30,000 job, yeah, better make sure that you're good, because
well, you better make sure you're good. I'm not sure I 100% agree with that, but I would dive in, but I would darn well make sure that I have a lot of sign-offs and that I'm protected. I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to, because what if I can't afford to just do like a regular job twice when I'm starting? I don't know. It's a hard one for me.
Properly, did you?
Maybe not. All right. Let's see. So we got that. Renee.
We had the conversation earlier, when somebody comes at you about pricing, and hey, the gym down the street, I can get this banner from Vista Print for this, and you're charging me this. Well, yeah, you're a gym and you're charging me this, and I can go to Planet Fitness for this. Now what?
Yeah, exactly.
Those weed out those ones that qualify your customer, and then you
qualify the customer. Totally. Let's see here. So, couple other quick things while we were talking about so now we're back to talking about your machine, Todd. Are you ready for that?
Sure.
Yeah, why not? Andy asked, what printer have you got on order?
It is an Epson P600 that has been converted converted over to DTF. So we'll see. They said it'll be a learning process, and I'd love to. I'm just glad I didn't spend like $17K on it, because I really wanted that other one, but like there's just not enough about it. And it was one of those where I could have got in it for a fraction of what I did, but I figured if I want this, I want to have something that's going to be reliable. I don't want a pirated RIP software, so let's just not go with any of those. I want real software. I want support behind it. I wanted I want, and okay, here's where I am with it, and let's see what happens.
Totally. That's great. That's awesome. There we go. So and then Michelle mentioned, interested to see how they hold up and what the running cost works out to be. Yeah, that's definitely the thing I'm really interested in too, is just the running cost of the whole thing. I just don't quite. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact as why nobody's talking about it still. That the people doing DTG should be like going crazy right now.
We're on the beginning edge of this, Aaron. You were going to be a master of this, and you're gonna be like, "Hey, I saw this 6 months ago," and I was like, "What the hell is this? What are you doing?" And that's why I got it in there before Aaron could talk me out of it. I'm like, "Nope, we're going to see what happens."
I think it'll be great, and I'm sure it'll be awesome. It just, like I said, it just really makes me kind of quite. I was fortunate enough to actually be at the very start of DTG. I've got the scars to prove it. It's so and these guys that are the players in the DTG market now, they've got a lot invested in that, and so it's something that's going to come and potentially, even when the white toner stuff was kind of newer and hot. They were really looking hard at it, and all of the DTG guys knew everything there was to know about the white toner stuff. And so, and when I go and ask all my current DTG friends, what do you know about this? They're like, never heard of it. I'm like, damn it, something's not right here.
Like, oh,
so they're either screwed or
and I think it's gonna have its place. It's one of those where if I had the DTG, there's a lot of great things that you can do with it, and it has its limitations. It just goes like everything else. Everything has its limitations with it, and with this, we'll find out what the limitations are. It's one of those where I think some people love their white toner, and some people hate it. There's not. I don't think there's a one piece of equipment that somebody can say, "Yep, that's the best piece, and that's the only piece you need, and you'll be fine."
Yeah, totally.
Always find people.
People say that about their DTGs. Some people love them and some people hate them. And again, even if you're somebody that loves it, it's not right for every single job. You have to have the right tools for the right jobs, and therefore, you've got to match your tools up to what your market is, and kind of go from there. So. We could go way down that rabbit hole for a long time, but let's not. One more. Andy asks, do you have a sign-off sheet example with clauses in it? I've got a couple things that I can pull out, or a couple different. You got something, right?
Yeah, didn't we have that in the 5 keys? Didn't we have some sign-off sheets in that?
We did have some like policy stuff in there. Yeah. Andy, we'll do this. We'll pull out what we've got here and just to kind of get it floated back to the top of the I don't know what you call it, whatever, it floated back to the top. We'll post that in the private members group, so this is for OSG members. So if you're not an OSG member, certainly love to have you join that community, but Andy's part of that community. So
yeah, and I think the other thing too is not everybody's policies and procedures work the same for everyone else, and you can put some generic ones in there, basically just to cover your own. But a lot of it, I think that's one of the most fluid pieces of paperwork that you have, because as you come across a problem that you don't have an answer to, then that's when that gets added in there. Here's where we just go back and keep adding to this and to make it work for you. Well, after Christmas is up, we'll be updating ours on how we're going to do business hours and what we're going to consider business days,
Sure.
and have that all in there of here's this and that's it. You can always check and see what you can do in there. But yeah, we can get. I know there was. Then we had a couple decent templates in there to at least get you started with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we even had like a Word doc that had some different policy stuff on it, and I know I've got a couple things kind of. I thought I'd shared all those things out there during the 5 keys, but that was last January, so
right. Speaking of, we have that coming up this January.
Yeah, so that actually gets into our next question, Todd, which I haven't put up there yet, but while I'm putting that up there, do you want to answer that one real quick?
No. Well, not that I don't want to answer it. So,
the answer to the question is no.
Where is the Oki? We're going to use toner. That is, you're putting it on one sheet and then you're marinating it to another sheet, and you're doing this. The DTF is actually printing directly on the transfer film. So the best thing to compare it to is a DTG, and instead of you printing on that garment, it's actually going to be printing on a film. And then you use that film, you'll have to add a powder to it, kind of like how they make the plastisol transfers, where they put the powder on it and then cure it, so that way you're able to apply it to a garment. This is the same way. We'll be applying a powder to it, we'll be curing it, and then we'll be able to use it as a transfer. So that's it's more along the lines of that than the white toner.
Gotcha. All right, there we go. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how everybody reacts to this whole thing. So I'm very curious.
I don't think on like the Roland and Mamaki, I don't think it's really going to affect them that much. I mean, they have printed HTV, but that's a very small percentage of what they're printing. A lot of those is more in the sign industry, and so this one really doesn't affect them. And this thing, I think the China one that I seen, I want to say maybe it was only 24 inches, maybe 36. It wasn't a huge one, and when you get into wide format printing, I mean, if you don't have a 54-inch printer, then you need to get one, because 30 inches is only going to get you so much. So when you're doing bigger jobs, it's just taking you longer and longer to do. So I don't think it'll affect them so much as it'll affect the DTGs, the white toners, things like that.
Okay. All right. So let's get into our last question here, Todd. And then, hour and 20 minutes in. So I think we should call it here.
Not here.
Yeah, it is last one of the year. So we'll go as long as we need. How do I know if the 5 keys, the OSG membership, are for me?
Are you in business? Do you want to be in business?
Yes.
If you answered yes to either one of those questions, OSG is for you. I think that's a great one. I think the one of the things that I really love about our training, it is geared for everybody. Whether you've just starting off yesterday or you've been in 10 years, people have been able to take many things away from it. I love our original 5 keys, because there were so many people that were in business that didn't know how to do these things because they just fell into it. I started as a craft. I moved on from here, and next thing you know, people are buying stuff from me, and I don't know if I'm making money. I don't know. I can't afford to pay myself. Well, yeah, let's figure out how to make that happen. And that's where it was kind of born from. There was no real good information out there. It seemed like everything was for, here's your business. You have to be a brick and mortar. You have to do, $1 million a year in sales to be considered a business. Okay, now let's talk to you. And no, whether you're doing, a $10 a year or $10 million a year, you're a business. So let's get you with that good baseline and get you those good fundamentals and get you going in the right direction.
Yeah. I think that's, Todd, when you and I were first talking, and then when this kind of got conceived in late 2019, that was exactly it. It just, there wasn't a whole lot of, like you said, everybody was like, if you're not $1 million, if you're not doing 100,000 a year, if you're not, don't have a brick or mortar, blah, 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 you're just a hobbyist or it's like, no, everybody has their own idea of success. And even if your goal is to get to that, what are you going to do until you get there? Who's going to be there to help you until you get there? And, with your experience of growing your business and my experience of getting to see a lot on the other side of the aisle, the vendor side of the aisle, and all of the business planning and stuff that I've been able to do, it was like one of these things. And I think one of the things that was most exciting for me was the fact that we did get to start off with a 5 keys. So real quick, I'll just explain when Todd and I keep saying 5 keys, what that means for everybody. So inside of our success group memberships, every year we have 3 different, what we call 5 key programs. So typical training is every other week, but during the 5 keys sessions, we it's kind of a sprint. It's every week for 5 weeks. And so last year was our first year. And but we've committed to every year going through those 5 keys. Now, if you were a member this last year already and you already went through it, we're updating those every time. So new information, it's a great reminder, improve, taking feedback. So even if you've already been through the 5 keys, getting to go through it again is huge. But if you hadn't been through it, so the 5 keys we, like I said, we do them three times a year. At the very beginning of the year, so it's kind of just coming off the holiday, maybe a little bit slower. Maybe people are getting started, New Year's resolutions, all that kind of things are going on. And we want to get people off to a good start. So we call the first set of 5 keys launching or growing your business. And the first training is getting into how do you know your numbers. It's one thing to say this shirt cost me $2 and I sell it for whatever. But how much does it even cost you just to have your doors open each day? That shop rate that we talk about. So we get real deep into that. In fact, there's a spreadsheet, and Todd, I don't even know if I told you this or not yet, but I've been actually already really kind of trying to overhaul that whole thing to have a nice package that'll all tie in together.
And one thing before you go further than that,
Yeah.
said, here the cost to have your doors open. Hey, just because you don't have a storefront doesn't mean you don't have expenses. Here, last time I checked, you are not getting your electricity for free. You're not getting your internet for free. You're not getting any of that for free. You're paying it, whether it's a household expense or not. That bill is being paid. So if you're using it for your business, the business needs to pay its fair share in order for you to be profitable. It needs to pay, its fair share there. It needs to pay you. And, a profit, that's always a good thing too. So, just because you don't have a brick and mortar doesn't mean you're not a business and that you don't need this. This is going to set you up for if you want to ever grow into a brick and mortar, you already have the system in place and you already know, hey, this is what I need to do in order for this to happen. If my rent is going to be $1,200 a month, okay, this is what I need to charge in order to cover that expense. And we go through all of that through there. And it's, I think last year, one of the biggest things that we got back was how many people had been in business for a while, but didn't really know that and how much their eyes were open. We're like, no wonder I work, 100 hours a week and I make 3 hours worth a week of pay, You just didn't know. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so most people, they didn't get into this with a business plan or even a business in mind. Started as a hobby. Yep, I can do this. I can make some stuff for me and my friends or the kids or our local POM team or baseball, whatever. I can do that. And then it grew and you just didn't know any better. So we're here to help you understand how to become, to grow your business and become better at it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, the other part, Todd, is that, like you said, if you're going here, not going there, whatever, the cool part about this whole thing is that it is a foundation. There's something for everyone, so regardless of what it is that you're trying to do, like you said, whether you want to go into here, whatever your goals are, you want to be the biggest company in the world. We've still got foundational pieces that are going to help you get there, but if you just want to keep it small, we also have that too. If you want to be a business that turns a profit, we've got something to help you. So again, we start off with knowing what your numbers are. We get into pricing. We do, in fact, we'll end up doing a couple. So this is the main pricing one, but then we also did another pricing strategies training later on in the year. So that you get into pricing. We then talk about workflow and processes and again, some of these forms and policies and that kind of thing. So because there's a couple of ways to create profit, Todd. There's really actually, as far as I can tell, 3 ways to create profit. Now you can get into splitting hairs, but there's 3 ways to create profit.
3 ways. Okay.
Okay. Ready? So the first way is you charge more.
Uh-huh.
Right. So you raise your prices. The second way is you reduce your expenses.
Mm-hmm.
So you pay less for the blanks and that kind of thing. But the third way is, if time is money, you get more efficient. So you don't have to reduce your costs. You don't have to raise your prices, and you still make more profit if you get better at doing your process. If I can get, 100 widgets done instead of 50 widgets done, that's still profit. And people miss that one.
Efficiency. That's increasing efficiency.
Yeah.
And somebody doesn't understand that. Henry Ford, the whole here, I'm going to have an assembly line. That's why they're able to do the things that they did, because it wasn't done that way before. And when we go through, our workflow, and that's week three.
Yep,
Week 3 of it. We've got a couple things in there that are super simple. And when people did it, they're like, that's nothing like, I'm telling you, it's nothing like mine, like, oh my God, that's the coolest thing since sliced bread. No, it's like, why the hell didn't I think of that? Type thing. And it was the same with me, where I'm like, here's how we do it. And this is why. So, and a lot of people up to that point had used it. We had talked about it, and they're like, yeah, it changed the way that we did it and made us more efficient. And guess what? When you're more efficient, you make more. Just proven fact.
Yep, exactly. So, and then let's see, the fourth week is after the sale, the follow-up, delivery and follow-up. I think a lot of people kind of leave it at that point, but actually you're leaving a ton of potential business on the table if you don't make that a specific part of your business that you're working on. And then finally, we kind of cover some real nice broad marketing stuff that, again, the point of that 5 keys is to launch or grow your business. So we want to give you that foundation to build on. And so that's the first one. And then, like I said, we do 3 5 keys throughout the year. Towards the middle of the year, we do an entire business planning 5 keys session. Obviously, you guys know that I love business plans. I'm weird like that. So I get super pumped up for that time of year. And then, not too long ago, we wrapped up 5 keys of marketing that led perfectly into the fourth quarter. So we set that up specifically. So when fourth quarter's here, the people that were involved in this, they had all the tools. In fact, we had a whole marketing plan for them. They could have done as much or as little of it as they wanted, and still were able to kind of grow their business. We talked about Facebook and so anyhow, that's what the 5 keys is for those of you that aren't familiar with it. Curtis is actually one of our members. He says tons of great help and support. So we appreciate that testimonial. Curtis is a great guy. And that's I guess the other part, Todd, that we don't probably talk about enough is that it's one thing, and the training's one thing. The community is the other thing that's just incredible inside the private members group, or the things that the people will support and whatnot. It's kind of cool. It's kind of been great to be a part of all that with people like Curtis. So.
Yeah. And which kind of leads me to something else too, that I didn't think about until right now, is as of today, 12/16/2020, there's 15 days left for open registration for the Masters of Success, which this is something that I wasn't sure, how it was going to play out. Aaron had this vision in his head, and I'm like, okay, but how? It
was a little cloudy, unfortunately, so Todd didn't see it.
It needed that, and then when that kicked off, the light bulb clicked by the second meeting, and it just, if you really want to take your business up, that is definitely something that there's no reason not to at least explore it. Because the stuff that I've seen come out of that group has just, it's been amazing. And I think one of the biggest things is that support system that they've built in there. The way that they've done things for each other. And that's one of those things when you say, hey, it's just me. Maybe it's me and my wife and that, and I can't afford to bring people on, and I can't afford to do this, but man, it's awful amazing when you're in there with, a couple other people, and now you have, 4 or 5 other business partners that are all there to help you because you're there to help them, and the stuff that comes in and out of there. It's great. So I think if you're really serious about taking your business to the next thing, definitely check out the Masters of Success and fill out the application on it and see if it's a good fit for you.
Yeah, it's like Todd said, I definitely had this vision because I really believe in the mastermind world and how that works. It's helped me. I've seen people help. I mean, heck, you go back to, some of the most richest, powerful people in the world, back Andrew Carnegie and those types of people, they swore by having a mastermind group. And so, anyways, so question here, Todd, is there two different groups? So to answer that, basically, it's not two different groups. It's basically layers is the way to look at this. Yeah. So our memberships, you can either sign up to be pay for it monthly, or you save some money if you do the whole year. And so there's the membership, and that's going to get you the 5 keys and all the other trainings, our private members Facebook group, and so all of that. So that's the membership. But if you want to add the next layer on top of that, that's the Masters of Success program. So not only you're getting everything from the membership, it's also an opportunity to then participate in these 6 calls each quarter where we have a very proven formula. There's an agenda. I take a great deal of pride in the fact that we try to keep them on time. We have a very specific set agenda, and there's accountability. So there's this support, but there's this accountability piece that I think a lot of small business owners are missing.
The solopreneur. Who are you holding yourself accountable to? I mean, me, I didn't have any. If guess what? I don't feel like working today. Whatever. What am I doing? Fire myself? No, I'll get to it when I get to it. But if I have it and I'm saying, here from this call to this call, I'm doing this. Guess what? I've got, 4, 5, 6, 7 other people that are telling me, hey, time's a ticking. Where are you at on this? Because you said you were going to do this. So that accountability is a huge part of it for it.
Yeah. And the people that are in the group are checking in with each other Monday through Friday, and sometimes even on Saturday and Sunday. I mean, so the relationships that they're building there too, because it's one thing to go into, a Facebook group and like Business Basics group, tons of great support, lots of great information, but you don't have that same kind of like, just that full relationship where, again, Todd, it would be, if you and I are in a mastermind together and I say, hey, by the next call, I'm going to do this. If I go into the Business Basics group and I say, hey, I'm going to do this, and like, I do it. And yes, it's out there in public, and okay, it's going to help me kind of motivate a little bit, but I can figure out a way to make some excuses. But when I have a relationship with somebody, that now that relationship is also on the line if I don't, get the thing done, because I know that those people in that relationship with me are also going to support me in it too. So it's anyhow,
and when you're in this level, you're also getting the levels below it. So you're getting the the monthly trainings, you're getting all that too. It's not 2 separate ones. So if you're in the Master Success, you're going to get, along with your 6 calls and your accountability and everything that's coming along with that Master Success program, you're also getting the monthly training as well too. And when you do the math on it, I mean, really, Aaron, you should probably add another 0 to the price of what it should be for the value that's coming out of it when you do the math to everything that comes out. But I think I just see what has happened from it. Yeah, you turned me into a believer. Not that I wasn't a believer. I just didn't. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was like, what? I need something to click, and it clicked, and that was it.
Yep. So, couple of questions in here. I think you get some great questions here. Becky asks, is everyone in the mastermind apparel decorators? So right now, and that's kind of a big part of what the application process is about. We ask a lot of questions because one of our goals to make this as valuable as we can for you is to get the right people together. So we're not limiting to only apparel decorators, but obviously that's our niche. That's what we know. That's who we talk to. So my guess is most people are going to be apparel decorators. But again, we're trying to find the right fits. So we have people apply. We try to get everybody together, and hopefully that things work out. If we have to shuffle, we're happy to do that. At the end of the day, just to share with everybody here, my goal, my personal goal, and Todd, I know is on board with this, and he's been willing to help me make this happen. My personal goal is to have 1,000 different businesses in this mastermind program by December 31st, 2024, which means that's 200 groups, because each group's about 4 to 7 people. So that's 200 groups. So yeah, we've got to make those fits and do all the other stuff. But yes, right now everybody's apparel decorators. Right now we started with one group, so we've only been doing this since October 23rd was the first call, and so we're heading there. Speaking of the groups, though, Todd, Valerie's here. Valerie's actually one of the in the Masters of Success group. I would say if you're questioning if OSG is right for you, then you just need to do it.
I like that thing.
Because Valerie, when we went through this process earlier, Todd and I had an opportunity to actually chat with Valerie, and anybody that wants to jump on a call with Todd and I and just ask specific questions, we're totally in to do that. But so we had a call with Valerie, and she just wasn't sure if it was right for her. We discussed it. We got figured out what, and after the fact, Valerie told us, I can't believe that I even kind of questioned it. I'm paraphrasing for her, but
she used some choice language in there but Aaron cleaned it up for her. But it was definitely one of those things where they just didn't know, and we're like, this is the type. These are the requirements, and you're meeting these, and you have it in you, and to see how she's coming out of this, it's been great. It's been to see everything evolve with the group that's in there. It's a great thing, and I can't wait until we have those 1,000 people. I mean, it's gonna be great.
So I mean, really, if you're serious about your business, if you're serious about taking it to the next level, this is the thing, and that's what we really are requiring of people to be in it. That's the other part of the application process, is we want to make sure that you're serious about being in business to be in business. And even if it's always going to be a side hustle, you can still be serious about being in business, but we want you to be serious about it. So not that we don't have fun, not that there isn't, that that's not the serious part. The fact that, you're willing to make a commitment to yourself and to the other people in the group that you're going to do the work, do the things that you say. We've got one of the members in the Masters of Success group right now that is also a full-time nurse. And, and so we all know what nurses are going through right now. And she's been crazy busy, but she's still made a commitment to at least do one tiny thing for her business every day. And that's all we ask. We don't want you to go, become $1 million business tomorrow, unless that's what you want to do. So anyhow, that's kind of my pitch there. A couple of other questions real quick, and Andy and Michelle, I will get to your questions in just one second. I want to get this question here. And Todd, since I'm a butcher of names far and wide, help me out with the name here.
Mrs. Cross.
Okay, all right. You'll have to excuse us. We're terrible with names, first and foremost. But what's that? Danine.
Let's just call her Danny.
All right. Sorry about that. We apologize for missing your name there. But so we kind of specifically put the 5 keys where we put them for a reason. But as a member, you actually do have access to all of the training. Like Janine. Okay. I think I'm maybe even messing that one up.
I said.
Okay. Sorry about that. So we actually, so when you become a member, you actually have access to all the training we've ever done too. Yeah. You can go back and rewatch it. We're available. We try to be really available to everybody. We try to be really available, period. But obviously giving priority to our success group members. So you can go back and watch them later. So if you were to become a member today, you could actually go back and catch the 5 keys from last year too.
Yeah.
So
that's the great thing is, we really try to keep it that consistent, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central, USA. I'm not sure what hours you need to add on there, but right now, it is. So in 13 minutes from now is what time training would be. So whatever that's what training would be. We try to keep it on Wednesdays. And sometimes with holidays things might switch around, but that's we try and stay really consistent on that.
Yeah.
And then you can watch them at any time. There's plenty of people that go back and watch them at their convenience later on. And there's other ones that they know what the training is going to be about. They'll submit questions beforehand that they'll have because they know they're not able to make the training, but here's some questions that they'll have, and then we're able to answer those for them. And we've tried, next year, I think the plan is we're going to have more of our guest trainers on there. We just had one on this last one, and mind blowing. It was the accounting side of it. It was just crazy on how to where you should do and what you shouldn't do and how things. And she killed it. I think there was a lot of great information on that. So we'll continue to try and do things like that, because I think that one of the best thing about our training programs is it's not us telling you, hey, this is what you need to learn. It's us asking you, what do you guys need to learn? And so we build those trainings around there. The only real consistent ones that we know that we're going to do are those 3 sets of 5 keys. These are the ones. The rest of the training, because like life, your business is fluid. Things change so much that hey, what can we do to better your business, and what do you need help with? And so that's what we do, is we seek out the people and the information that you need because you've asked for it. And that's what we really like about our program.
Yep. And like I said, things evolve. In fact, I haven't told you this yet, but I was talking to a guy today that he and his wife might be in as a guest trainer this next year to talk TikTok.
Ooh,
yeah, interesting, huh?
Yeah,
They're killing it on TikTok right now. So
I like the sound of that. Do they own an ice cream shop?
They do not.
Okay, just checking.
No, but his wife is a incredible artist that will draw things on the fly. I'll show it to you. It's pretty cool. Okay, so hopefully there. Yeah, got that. Let's get back to Andy and Michelle's questions, because this is a good question, really good question. So Andy says, Master of Success, will that be suitable for Canadians like me? And Michelle saying, I'm Australian, Canadian. That's a tough one, Ty, because I think it'll be suitable. I'd certainly love to have the conversations with you guys to kind of see what it is that your expectations will be. We want it to fill your expectations. At the end of the day, and Carolyn also says, do you have a focused embroidery group? As we build this, we're trying to find the right fits for everybody. So if it is a focused embroidery group, I know with our current Masters of Success team, the group that's in that a lot of them are doing embroidery. We've got a lot of sublimation in there and things like that. So right now, I can't say 100% sure that it's going to be obviously things are going to be different in Australia and in Canada than they are in the US. But at the same time, foundationally,
I can say, say real difference because in today's day and age, the only real difference is your monetary, is how do you spend your money and how's your cash collected? So something that may sell for here for $10, I don't know what that translates to, in Canada or Australia, but the fundamentals behind it is you're making a profit. The fundamentals behind your business is you want to be profitable. So I think they are good. And
then on the Masters of Success side of things, the fundamentals of it are to also, be able to say, here's some things I want to work on in my business, and I'm going to be accountable to these things because I've shared that with you, and you're going to share your successes, and you're going to share what your challenges are, and you're going to get feedback from others. And again, I can't think of anything that we've talked about in the Masters of Success so far where somebody had shared a challenge that they've had that wouldn't translate kind of internationally, in a sense. So there's definitely a lot of that. The other thing that we do kind of is a requirement to be in the Master of Success is you do have to kind of commit to the calls. Now we don't have, so that's the other part of the applications. We try to get people also fit together so everybody can call. I mean, if we need to do these Sunday nights at 7 p.m., I'm happy to do that. So from our perspective, we can make the calls work whenever. So it's a Zoom call that these quarterly calls are all about. And so again, I think that at the end of the day, if we can build something to where people are going to be able to help and support each other, if we need to have calls for my time in the middle of the night, then we'll do that.
Right? And on Caroline's question, the embroidery focus group, that one, I'm kind of on the fence with, because I like having the mix of people in there. So it's the mix of ideas, because maybe somebody who's doing sublimation, will bring a different set of tools to the table that you can use those same things in embroidery, but you didn't think about it because this is all is embroidery. So that's one thing that I've realized with this group here, is because there is the mix of people that are doing things, somebody has no clue on how this works. And so now, hey, they do. The other thing is there's also that connection. If there's somebody in there, if everybody's doing embroidery, you have the people that can help out if something happens and goes down, and that, hey, what's going on with this? Then you also, on the other side, if somebody is doing something you don't do, now there's that new connection. Hey, can you work together on that? Can you collaborate on projects? So it's good to make things, to help each other out. The mashups on it are amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Having that diversity in the group is definitely brings something too. So again, our goal here's the kind of the hopefully the wrap up a little bit from my perspective, Todd, is that at the end of the day, we have a mission of providing resources that empower business owners to their idea of success.
Yep.
And we've kind of made a commitment to ourselves and to the OSG community that we're going to make our decisions based on that mission.
Yep.
And I chose 1,000 members of the Master of Success because I believe in that whole process to a point that I know that's how I can help the most number of businesses to their idea of success, is by selling, so to speak, getting people to realize how important a mastermind group can be for a business owner.
Yeah.
But, if there's other resources, other times, Valerie says, I vote to move our calls to Friday mornings at 9 a.m. if you're so flexible. If at the end of the day, Valerie, that's what really was going to make a difference, and that was what was going to help me support as many business owners as I can. Bye, Terry. Eric can fill in for me.
That's her 9 a.m. Is that our 9 a.m.? Because our 9 a.m. would be fine,
Yeah, our 9 a.m. I'm pretty sure that's her 9 a.m., which would be my 10 a.m., and there would be no more Two Regular Guys podcasts. But you know what? I'm okay with that.
She's in Idaho, so I don't. I don't know. That's the whole time thing,
Time zone. All right, cool. Todd, great stuff. Hopefully, if you guys have any questions, though, I am going to just toss up real quick here. And in fact, just put it up as far as a screen share. Maybe if I can get to the right place.
Break your computer.
Yeah, exactly. It was not happy with me. I decided to restart right before we got on this thing today, so I have to baby it a little bit.
How's my mic been? I switched mics. I got a new one.
Yeah, there's been I don't know if you just have rubbed it or whatever, but I've heard a little bit of like kind of crunchiness every once in a while. So
I've got it's close to where I'm writing at, so that's where.
Yeah, it could have been what happened. All right, so the only reason I put up our website, not a sales pitch. If anybody does have any questions, want to talk to us, they want to, they want to go. I just want you to see the contact us page. You can email us, you can hit us Facebook, or if you click over here, you can actually we'll get on a call together. I mean, whatever it takes, whatever you need. Quarterly and basic. I'm guessing. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I just discovered, Todd, a typo that I need to fix on our website at Masters of Success. So Becky, this is a great question. What's the difference between the quarterly and the basic membership? It's actually not a basic membership. That's just the annual. Shouldn't say, I don't know why that says basic. I have a typo there. So this should say annual. So there's no difference between the two. It's just if you want to pay quarterly, you want to pay for the whole thing for upfront for a year. It just makes it less expensive per month if you're going in the whole 12. So,
yeah, way to go.
Yeah, Andy, we feel the same way about you. So thank you. And let's see here. Valerie says, I think you sound better than the other day. You sounded really muffled to me the other day. Okay.
Yeah. So we got a new mic, so we'll see how this one plays out. And eventually the studio will get put together. We'll have a nice studio like Aaron's. No, I won't. I've got.
I told you, Todd, it's all smoke and mirrors, man. It's all smoke and mirrors. You should see the rest of it.
The problem is as I'm sitting I'm at a right-handed desk. And if anybody knows what that means, when you're sitting at a right-handed desk that is next to a table, that doesn't work because you're hitting there. So I just need to, you learn that just like all of this, as things go, we adapt and we overcome and we get better. And I realized that where I thought I'm better than where I was a year ago when we were doing these. And each time I'm getting a little better. So
there you go. Grow every day. It's Todd. It's that book that did you ever finish that book, by the way, The Slight Edge?
I did.
Yeah. There you go. That's one of my favorites, Slight Edge. If you guys haven't checked that out, it's by Jeff Olson. The Slight Edge. It's well worth the read or listen if you're an Audibles type person.
Speed if you're Aaron. Didn't even know that's another thing I learned this year, that I can listen to a book twice as fast. Didn't know that.
Get through a lot more books that way.
I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, what is going on?
It just depends on who's reading it, though. There's some where you just can't listen to them that way, and because it just doesn't comprehend. They don't enunciate very well. But there's some where, depending on the book, and depending on it, like there's a podcast that I listen to. It's called The Art of Manliness. So I'm not sure how well, but it's really great. Actually, my wife's listened to it and she enjoys some of the content on there as well. Anyhow, the guy is just kind of a real slow talking. So I actually listened to his podcast at like 2 times speed. So he sounds a little bit like a chipmunk, but it's like, okay, finally get some information. Cool. That's So, all right, Todd, I think anyhow, like I said, if you guys want to talk to us, click on the schedule a Zoom call there with us. Just check the calendar. You can hit us up an email, whatever works for you, reach out to us and we're happy to have the discussion with you. If Masters of Success isn't right for you, that doesn't get us anywhere closer to our mission. So we're not going to tell you that it's right for you if it's not, know. In fact, Todd, I don't know if I can't remember. Terry was her name. She started off as an OSG member, and a little ways in, you just looking at her business and what she was trying to do, it just wasn't. She wasn't in business to be in business. It was more of a hobby, and we had a discussion with her, and it was like, okay, yep, this isn't right for you, and we, gave her money back and moved on. So, still support her any way we can, but
absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing is a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. And so you figure things out along the way. I've never made claim to be an expert in anything, and I never will. I know a lot more than some people on stuff, and I know a lot less than others. And I want to get as much information from people and to people as I can. And that's the only way we do it, is we just keep learning every day.
Yep. Small growth. All right, Todd. I think we're almost at 2 hours now. I appreciate everybody tuning in. We had a lot of fun.
15 minutes. Remember that? Yeah, we're only going to do these, 15, 20 minutes. That's what we're going to do. Then it was half an hour.
I will just, anytime anybody decides they want to do something like this with me, don't ever expect it to run short. It will always run long. It's just who I am. I have no idea why. Todd, the thing at DAX, for example, I had practiced my pitch, that presentation for the DAX live thing. I had practiced that probably 4, if not 5 times. And I recorded it. I never once did it take me any longer than 8 minutes to do the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I had 10 minutes at DAX. I didn't get to my last 3 slides.
Yeah,
I was so mad. And there was nobody asking questions. I just somehow made it longer. I don't want to stress it out. So anyhow, I got to get to the point. All right. Todd, anything that we missed?
I don't know. It's been 2 hours.
Probably not. Anything that we shouldn't have talked about?
No, I think we had a great 2020. This was, if anybody remembers how this got started, was back when COVID started to take off, and we're like, hey, we kind of want to take some of the fun, put the fun back into this, and let's just answer some questions there. And what started as a daily, remember when we were doing this every day, and at that time it was pretty close to half an hour because we knew we had stuff the next day, and there, and then as trainings came up and we moved stuff back. But it's been an amazing year for this, and I look forward to continuing to. I continue to look forward to TNA all the time.
Todd and Aaron, yes, I do think that this has been really fun, Todd. I kind of, when you brought this up, because this was Todd's idea, and it's been a great idea. I was kind of like, I don't know, every day, but like you said, when COVID hit, we kind of talked about it as like, hey, we need to do this, so we're out there, we're there to support people, but you know what, Todd, at the end of the day, I think I took a ton out of that. The opportunity to have a little fun, have these conversations back and forth with folks, have these conversations back and forth with you every day made kind of getting through that front end of COVID a lot easier. And then as we've grown, it's just turned into this thing where, yeah, we get to answer questions about whatever.
Yeah, at the beginning we had a lot of good questions of, hey, well, what's your favorite of this, or what do you think of that?
God, I think we must have spent 45 minutes one day on Tiger King alone. So
yes, that was an amazing.
And then I had to watch it after that. Oh,
you made me work out.
That's true. You did say you missed my part about Slim Dad last night on Tuesdays with Todd.
That, and I just overlooked it.
Yeah. See, that's why I thought maybe you were getting my comments and you just weren't sharing them because of what I was saying. But then
the only time you'll see Slim Dad is when he's got a Slim Jim in his hand.
I told you we could start up the OSG challenge again. We'll get Slim Dad 2021. I don't know. There's got to be.
I mean, I could start doing meth too. And
I don't want you to start doing meth.
Results are going to be the same.
All right, everybody. Todd, anything else?
Nothing.
I think we're good. We still have to come up with a sign off for you for for pretty much all of our stuff. We actually have a sign off for 2 regular guys. I don't know why we don't have one for everything else that we do. So.
I don't know. Figured out Stay Classy Idaho was found.
Nope. We're not here to offend an entire state. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight, and looking forward to talking to everybody. Those of you that are OSG members, next Wednesday, we are going to talk about planning for the year ahead and get into how we plan, what you should be planning, what you should be looking at. It's going to be an exciting training, and I think everybody's going to finally, hopefully, those of you that are really busy in the fourth quarter, things will be calmed down by then. At that point, it's like it is what it is, and on the 23rd, it is what it is, and so I'm looking forward to that training. Let's see what else is coming up.
When's the next one of these? February? Yeah, because we're going to.
It's true, because we got 5 keys in January, so it'll be the end of February before we have another Q&A. So stay tuned in February, right?
We'll be back for season 2. Yeah,
season 2. We'll be back. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your Wednesday evening, and we will talk to everybody soon.
Happy holidays. See you next year.